YTBC, what's going on? A couple months ago, January, mid-January, I made a vid, um, talking about Mayweather Pacquiao. Now that I seen that the fight was, great chances, but it wasn't, wasn't even. I think it was first being negotiated, but behind the scenes. Anyway, I made a vid, and I just want to say right now that this video is emotionally charged. Um, you know, I'm taking a lot of logic out, but at the same time I'm implementing logic. But I can't help as a fan but be excited that this fight is happening. I mean, this is the biggest fight. Uh, let's step outside the picture for a moment. Let's forget about resumes. Let's forget about records. Forget about promoters, past events. Let's just think about our sport that we love, uh, boxing fans, be it casual or hardcore or whatever. And just think about it for a moment that on May 2nd, that all around the world collectively, the amount of people that will be watching the same fight at the same time. Yeah, different time due to, various time zones depending on what part of the world you're at, what hemisphere. But everybody will be watching this fight at the same time. And that is something in itself, man. I was watching, Mayweather Pacquiao at last yesterday, and I just want to say, um, me personally, I'm always a fan of HBO 24/7s. I will give them that. I hate their commentary. I'll take Showtime any day of the week as opposed to HBO commentary. But I am a fan of the 24/7s. I think it's better than All Access. All Access focus more on the training camps. I will give them that. It's not all bad, but I like Liev Shriver. I like his voice. I like the words he says. He implements it, how he relates it to life, metaphors, similes, all that. I like how it's implemented into HBO 24/7. I realize it is meant to get you emotionally charged up, like I am now. I've realized it's meant to do that, to draw hype, into a fight. It's another promotional tool that is used by the networks, but they do a damn good job with it, man. They do a damn good job with it, and the shit is authentic. It's real. The shit that they be saying that ties into life. I mean, boxing is life. But anyway, going into Mayweather Pacquiao, I like how they broke down the negotiations and they showed you the different cycles of how they got to where the fight was made, even down to the last very seconds with the basketball game and Pacquiao Mayweather meeting there. I like all that, how it was implemented. I like how they took both fighters' careers. Manny in the Philippines, Floyd, in the amateurs. Well, actually, they did that on the inside Mayweather Pacquiao, which was just strictly on Mayweather. I don't know if the next episode will be strictly on Pacquiao, but anyways, on the at last documentary, they did both fighters, and they spent even amount of times on both fighters. They showed you the negotiations, breakdowns. One thing I wanted to say, Mayweather fans, go ahead and hit the dislike button right now. One thing I want, one thing I want to say right now is Floyd, man. Going back to shit that we all know, and even as fans know, Floyd is a very insecure person. If somebody has an edge over him, even if that's a minor edge, I mean, it was just funny the past stuff they brought up. With Brian Kennedy going, I like to welcome back the former pound for pound king. I never said I was no pound for pound former king. Nothing. I'm just saying I'm the best fighter in the world. How can you give a guy fighter of the decade when he's lost? Like, oh my God, Floyd, you can't be fighter of the decade when you lost. I've been fighting for over a decade and I've never lost. Like, newsflash, every fighter that's got fighter of the decade has a loss. Greatness doesn't equivalent to wins and losses. There's more to it than just that. But this guy, he don't seem to get it, man. He don't seem to get it. You retired and another guy got shine and he can't take it, man. Just like when Floyd retires, boxing will live on, and Pacquiao as well. But I'm not gonna draw too much away from that. I just think it's funny how he was how they just showed past stuff, and it just reminds you of how much Floyd, man, his record is damn near all he's got, man. That's what he holds on to as the key number one thing for his legacy. Anyway, Pacquiao is a shit talker. He does it. He's a silent shit talker. He's a metaphoric shit talker. This guy, that's why Pacquiao, like, he knows exactly what he's doing, man. This guy's sharp. There's no way you can be a congressman in a country or whatever it is that he does now, that is his current duty, and not have intelligence. It's not just inside the ring; it's outside the ring. Pacquiao's a very intelligent guy. Um, I think he just plays dumb. Honestly, it's a he acts like a chameleon. He gives us a different look. Um, And maybe he done that in some fights too to draw Mayweather in. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out May 2nd. But one thing I want to say is that was funny, man. And I didn't get it at first when he was telling the joke. You know, it's like a guy, who's on death row, and everything he asked for, you have to give him the meal that he wants to eat because it's his last meal. So we'll give it to him right before we kill him. I didn't get it until I was like, shit, he's referencing Mayweather that he agreed to all the demands, the 60-40, which on my part, it makes sense from my perspective because when he took the knockout loss, that definitely makes sense. At one point, Floyd was willing to do 50-50, so I have no problem with the 60-40. There's always an A side, B side. I'm not a fan of it, but that's just how boxing operates. It is what it is. 60-40 ain't bad. He took that. He agreed. I don't know all the stipulations. I'm sure Floyd's picking the ounce gloves. I don't know. Different things Floyd's picking. Who walks out first. Blah blah blah. All that. They're both champions. Unification bout. But he let Manny saying we'll let him have all that. We'll let him have his last meal because we about to kill him. I'm just excited for this fight, man. I want to really, YTVC, I want to get y'all opinions, man. I want everybody to comment, man. Everybody to comment. I don't care if we agree, disagree, whatever. I've never been scared of a dislike or comment that doesn't agree with my perspective. I could care less, man. I invite controversy as far as when we're talking about fights. I would like the fight to be clear cut and have no controversy, although I can see that happening. But just how y'all think this fight will go, man? I still am picking Mayweather to win it. If I had to place a bet, it'd be on Mayweather. Got a gun to my head, it's on Mayweather. And just, my natural first thought, if you ask me who you think's gonna win, I think of Mayweather. But Pacquiao, man, you know what? That's another thing I wanted to say. This fight is happening at the perfect time. If you think about it, if you really think about it, this fight could have happened 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? It could have. Maybe both guys physically were better in their primes, and we might have had a more competitive fight. That's what we're trying to. That's what we like to think, right? But we don't know for sure because we don't know the future. It could still be a great fight. But one thing about it is the storyline is badass to me. It's like a movie. A movie should be made about it. Because here is a guy, like when they were shown at last yesterday, here's a guy, Manny. Remember when Manny got knocked out by Marquez? The Mayweather-Pacquiao talks ended. We sympathized with him. Well, some people did at least. So it was like, no, Mayweather's name went out the door. Can this guy even return to boxing and be mentally stable to even claim a victory over any top 10 opponent? He chose Brandon Rios. Came back, beat him easily. Revenged his loss against Timothy Bradley. Then the Mayweather-Pacquiao talk starting again. Mayweather-Pacquiao, can this fight be made? Then Manny started to regain his confidence again. To whereas he made the commercial. See, that's what I mean. And obviously we knew what the commercial was about. It was about Mayweather. Common sense. It's a very interesting storyline because every fighter has one great fight left in them. And I will always resort back to the most current one that I can think of right off the top of the back with Eric Morales coming off of fucking surgery. Having some type of brain surgery, I believe he had, and fighting Marcos Maidana, one of the deadliest punches of the division, and equalizing them in the fight. Didn't win, but equalized them in so many ways by using this. See, that didn't go away. His smartness, his ring smarts. But everybody thought he was going to get the demolished in 2 rounds. Rest in peace, Eric Morales. Right in his obituary, and look what he did. The same thing with Manny. He don't have the same resistance. Now, when I talk about Manny, now I'm being fair. Now, let's throw all speculations out. Let's forget about when he faced Cloudy, right? Remember that vid I made? Let's forget about when he faced Cloudy. Let's forget about catch weights. Let's forget about all that. Let's assume the guy was clean because innocent until proven guilty, right? He was never proven guilty. So let's assume that in a right perspective, in a perfect world, Manny is just a fighter, just like Floyd is just a fighter, right? And there's some things you could bring out about Floyd too, as well. Assuming that, right? We say, oh, what happens to Manny doesn't seem as powerful no more. He don't have that killer instinct no more. He still got the speed, but his legs can't keep up with his hands no more because he's cramping up. He don't have that stamina like he had no more to bounce around from side to side like a fucking tornado. He can't do that no more. Can't do that no more. It's not the same Manny Pacquiao as this fight would have been 3 years ago. But every fighter's got one good fight left on him. What if Manny knows how big this fight is? Floyd knows how big this fight is. Floyd's talking about he wants to stop Manny. I'm pretty sure Manny wants to stop Floyd. The way I see it, if there's going to be a stoppage in this fight, if there's going to be a knockout in this fight, it's coming from Manny Pacquiao. If there's going to be a TKO in this fight, it could come from either guy. May 2nd, we're going to see, man. Boxing's the theater of the unexpected. It always will be. Always has been. May 2nd, we're going to see. Like I said, I'm on with Mayweather, but I see Pacquiao. I see Pacquiao doing some things, man. I can see Pacquiao. Floyd's going up against another mega superstar that's equal to him in his own right. I mean, honestly, more people like Pacquiao than Floyd. That's what it is. This guy's got a whole country behind him, and he's got a bunch of Americans behind him too. I'm behind him, and I hope Pacquiao whoops Floyd's ass because I always root for the underdog. This is my first time rooting for Manny Pacquiao in a long time because Pacquiao's always been the upside. Now, for once, he's an underdog, and he shouldn't be a too far underdog. I haven't checked the odds lately, but to guys that are speaking out of ignorance, or maybe perhaps there is logic to your thought, and you do feel that Mayweather is levels above this guy, and this fight will not be competitive, or Floyd will outclass Manny totally. It's possible. It's possible, but I see Manny's output, especially if I think this Manny, the old Manny, we will see the old Manny. Again, like I said, I'm emotionally charged up right now. They got me charged up. I can't wait till next week to hear the fighters that face both Manny and Floyd. They're going to speak and give their perspective on what it's like to be in the ring with both of them. I can't wait for all this shit leading up to May 2nd, man. This is the biggest fight in my era, in my generation, that I'm going to watch live. And I'm just happy it's happening. Like I said, it's a great storyline. Guy got knocked out, came back, and the fight that he never got to have happen is happening now. And all this back and forth from the 5 years is what makes it even more interesting. Regardless of what condition the fighter's in or how better the fight would have been, due to all the shit that did happen, like it or not, due to all the shit that did happen and all the hype that surrounds it, that's what makes this fight so great. That's what makes this fight so great. That's what makes the whole world want to see it. That's why this fight had to happen. All the networks joining together. I mean, everybody joining forces. CBS, HBO, Showtime. Everybody. It's like they put their pride to the side to make this fight happen. And sometimes the networks beef too. I ain't got to tell you that. Especially you hardcore fans. You know that. Everybody came together to make this. This fight had to happen. May 2nd, man. May 2nd. I think Manny can come out and he can be very, very active. And if he can get at least 5 rounds, he can, I can see him, with one round being one of them rounds where it's like, I could have gone either way, it should have went this way, it should have went that way, man, he stole around at the end. I think he can get a draw, nevertheless get a win. It is very possible for Manny Pacquiao to win this fight. I'll put it this way. It's very possible for him to win this fight. I want to end this thing with this, right? Very simple, very basic. Mark Wahlberg said something that it's not like I never thought about. It's not like I don't know. Styles make fights. Look at how, and again, we're in a perfect world, right? Forget about the catch weight. Forget about, he fought him at this time. He fought him at that time. He fought him at this weight, that way. Forget about all that. Perfect world, right? These guys, the opponents that they have in common. Ricky Hatton. Look how Floyd beat him. Look how Pac-Man beat him. Miguel Cotto. Look how Floyd beat him. Look how Pac-Man beat him. Oscar De La Hoya. Look how Floyd beat him. Look how Pac-Man beat him. And in some of those fights, they got ultimately the same end result. They stopped the guy. But styles make fights. They did it in a different fashion. George Foreman versus Ali was the biggest fight at one time, the Rumble in the Jungle. Never forget that. George Foreman knocked out Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier beat Muhammad Ali. Ali knocked out George Foreman. And that was a fight where everybody was saying Ali's done. He don't have it no more. He's done. He took the retirement that he took off, the layoff due to, the army, the services. They made him join, then they locked him up for not doing it. That fucked with his career. He's done. He knocked out George Foreman. I mean, it's just the point to go to prove that styles make fights, and When everybody thinks you ain't got it, or majority of people are against you, or some people doubt you, that's when fighters put on.